welcome back to Bonanza Disc Golf. It's tournament day. I feel so unprepared. I feel sore. I feel like I'm gonna play terribly.
But we got a tournament today, so let's make it happen.
This tournament is the ARGO Classic. It's a C tier in Pensacola, Florida. Hey, Eric Oakley, Paige Pierce, if you're watching this, let's work together. We'll do a quick bag check that I gotta check in. And honestly, for this tournament, my expectations are through the floor. I haven't played a tournament since I was in Chicago about a month and a half ago. Actually, just over a month, but the 4 tournaments I played in a row there, I shot an average of about 1060 rated, and I actually got my first 1,000 rated round. Right now, my rating is 1043, so I'm honestly just trying to get above 1043 for both of my rounds here. I have not practiced putting in so long, so I'm not confident that everything is going to be going super smoothly. Let me real quick run you through my bag though, and I'm just gonna try to play safe golf. And I mean, hey, if we shoot down 1 or 2, maybe we beat our 1,000 rated again. Who knows? If you're new to the channel, my name is Anthony. I started playing disc golf back in January of this year, and currently I'm playing MA1 on the road to hopefully next year playing in at least 1 Pro Tour event, and then over time trying to cash at a Pro Tour event. Real quick bag check, we got putter slot here, a lot of Pures. Opto Pure for that super straight flying one, Eco Pure Super Beat in, my 2 putting Pures, and then I have an ESP Zone and a Razor Claw 3. I did get a Get Freaky Crystal Flex Zone, but honestly, I really prefer throwing on forehand and backhand the Razor Claw 3. I need a new bag. I have 2 EMAC Truths right now. I'm actually gonna be replacing one of these very, very soon, and you might be able to replace one of yours too in the next couple of days. Very straight, a little bit of turn, we'll come back. And then this one's more stable, but actually not super stable. Some of you have suggested the Pyro, which I might be doing. I have a Fuse, which is pretty flippy, straight with some late turn, but it will definitely turn over if you throw it hard enough. And then a Justice right here, which is just this, my meat hook guy. Actually added a fairway, and I lost a couple fairways. So I have my River for my flippy fairway. My Glory, I was thinking about taking out of the bag, but I've kept it in for this tournament because pretty much as a backup. But I think the fairways I'm really gonna rely on today are just gonna be the River and then 2 Thunderbirds. This Thunderbird is like my workhorse. It will turn for me now. I can hyzer flip this pretty good. And then this is a pretty mutant stiff Thunderbird. One of the first discs I ever bought. I bought it back in Las Cruces, New Mexico, right after I had started playing. But this thing is a meat hook, so for a Thunderbird. So that's in that slot. And then for our distance boys, 4 drivers. I don't know how much I'm gonna take these out. It is a long course, but it can be pretty technical. Grace actually just threw into a sign yesterday, so it's got a piece chunked out of it. So I have a backup in here, which is the one that at the distance competition yesterday, I threw 470 feet. This is a very flippy old Kristen Tatar Grace. I don't know how much I'll throw that. It's pretty much just for big turnover shots and maybe rollers, but it's even too flippy to get like a really stable roller. And then this Rive right here is pretty stable. I don't really have anything more stable. I have a new Rive that I might put in the bag. That's the bag check. I'm gonna go check in, warm up a little bit, get on the hole 1, and hopefully we can at least shoot even. I'd be happy with that. I think there's more that I can do, but don't want to overwork myself. Just gonna get some stretching in. It is humid in Florida. This is my first Florida tournament, even though my PDGA number is in Florida. Gosh, I need so much water while I'm out here. Gotta remember to drink a lot. Gonna butt in here real fast. Don't look at this. Like I said yesterday, don't look at this. It's definitely not something that's probably gonna be dropping Monday or Tuesday for you guys. Don't look at it. Okay, first of all, I'm like less than 12 hours out from my next round, and I gotta finish editing this video and get to sleep. So real quick interjection. I am playing this course blind for the most part. I saw the first couple holes yesterday when I did like the distance competition and things. And because I have so little time before my next round, and I wanna get this video out for you guys pretty much while I'm in my next round, because YouTube says like 2 to 3 o'clock is the best time to upload for me. The edits might not be as crazy in this video as some other ones, but it's a little bit more raw anyways because it's just GoPro footage attached to my backpack that I was able to get every single shot that I took during this tournament round. I probably spoiled it in the title, but it was a pretty solid round, and I'm going to run through a lot of my decision making just in commentary, and I'll try to show as much as I can on the screen, but I'm trying not to stay up more than like another hour or so in order to get this video up. So if there's a little bit less editing than normal, know that that probably won't be the norm going forward, especially tomorrow's video, my second tournament vlog. You'll get a little bit more from there. But let's head on to hole 1, which is a 444-foot downhill shot over OB almost the whole way. I'm really nervous choosing between my Grace and my Rive. There was a tailwind with a left to right, which is going to help to push your disc to the right, which is out of bounds in this case. So I decided to disc up to a Rive. Super nervous. First MA1 card to tee off. Both of the people who threw in front of me threw out of bounds. So I was like, ended up releasing it a little bit early. That's all me on the camera. Now into the commentary booth. Don't look at this felon and other discs that might be available very soon for purchase. Very limited orders though, because fulfillment for the van is hard. Onto my upshot. So here we are looking at the basket, and I'm pretty much deciding between my ESP Zone and my Razor Claw 3. I decided if I just give this enough ante to flex it, it should be fine. Catch more edge, buddy. But that'll putt. First putt of the day is always a little bit scary because I'm walking up to about 20 feet, which is kind of a good distance to gauge how well you're gonna be putting because you're super focused here. And you really wanna make the first one. So when that goes in, I'm feeling pretty good. My stroke's feeling fine, and we're heading on to hole 2. Even through 1, hole 2 is a 275-foot, pretty straight forehand with a little bit of finish because you do have this gully down the left side that is OB. So I decided to go with my ESP zone. That way it'll hold straight, throw it on a little bit of hyzer so that it will finish, and hopefully we can have a solid second drive. Pretty hard to see on the GoPro footage, but as you can see now, landed pretty solid. Gave myself like a 6 foot, maybe 10 foot. Seems like a park job, but you never know at the beginning of tournaments. Put it in, take our first birdie, down 1, heading into hole 3, which has a double mando right there that I'm showing you. Super tight line, 772 feet, par 4, and you have to get about 390 feet way through these trees. I throw my river, not happy with my shot, kick to the left where luckily I didn't go OB, but I have absolutely nothing. Can't even really pitch in a forehand, so I opt to go with a roller, which is something I've been working on. Threw it way too turned over, and now I left myself here for my third shot. That gap right there, I'm throwing through with my EMAC Truth, just trying to put my mid on some turn, hit a tree, which leaves me with a little bit more than I want and a little bit less of a run up.
375.
375 is pretty far for throwing my 4th shot and trying to get up and down for bogey. I throw my rive and just throw it a little bit too straight and flat, so it starts to turn. Leaves us with this look where I'm really trying to decide how I want to attack the basket. I'm only about 80 feet out. I look at that forehand and hyzer lane over those trees, and then I kind of look down and see that there's a really easy just chip hyzer. Whenever I can play just a straight up hyzer, I'm going to take that line. Gets me up and down, take an easy double bogey, I guess, which is sad. But hole number 5 is kind of funky. 4 actually, 421 into the football stadium. Anything on the turf is inbounds, anything out of the turf is out of bounds. I just want to take a safe shot, try to get it down there, end up throwing pretty solid, but leave myself with about 26 feet. This is the longest putt of the day so far. Everything's still inside the circle. Left a little high, but it's in, so back to even. Now moving on to hole number 5, it's 768 feet, and you tee off up, and it's kind of called top of the world because you're going, it's hard to honestly visualize from here, but I throw over that gap, which is going to land in the middle of the football field that's down to the left. And as long as I'm in that field, inbounds, I'm pretty happy. You see the basket here barely because it's the top of it, and I'm ranging. I thought I was stepping up to about 360 feet.
Fine. 445.
But it turned out to be 445. Got a tail right to left, so I'm gonna take my grace. Now I know I can throw this distance, so I'm not as scared to throw it. Put my grace out.
Push it, Wayne, push it.
Just calling for the wind to push it back towards the basket because that's why I did the wind read. Left myself only about 20-ish feet. But downhill putts are not my favorite. Cashed it though, so we got 2 birdies in a row, down 1 on to hole 6, which is 797-foot par 4, basically all the way to the right of your screen, but the whole middle of the field is OB. So you have to throw along this line, and I thought that this was going no bounds. Didn't really know what happened with it, but it seemed like it was gonna be bad.
That's probably down that drain. Shoot.
Well, that was too close for comfort. Yeah, not the best. The basket's still 415 feet out, so I decided to just chip out because it is a par 4. End up getting into another area that is safe. All those flag lines to the right you see are out of bounds.
240.
240 into the pin, so I take my Opto Pure, pull it a little bit to the right, but I don't think I'm really going to complain too much about that kind of shot. And now I got to check to make sure I'm recording. Solid. Moving on to hole number 7. 377-foot par 3. Can't really see the basket super well, but there's a pretty low, tight line that I decided to take because I was trusting my grace on that kind of angle. Got a little skip towards the end, put us inside the circle to about 25 feet, but it's an elevated basket, and I don't know how I'm feeling putting on those. Apparently pretty good. Pretty solid birdie there.
What's going on? What's your name?
Greg.
Greg, where are you taking us, dude? You just shipping us off?
To the next hole.
Okay.
Straight up to the next hole.
What are you studying?
Cybersecurity.
That's sick, dude. Have a good one, dude.
All right, so Greg took us over into hole number 8. It's 256 foot. There's a CTP on this one. I throw my EMAC Truth, honestly disking up to a mid-range instead of a putter, just because I wanted to trust the flip on that and throw it a little bit softer. Pretty solid shot. Left myself with about another 10-footer. Hole number 9 here is a 553-foot par 4. You really want to get up this fairway and a little bit left because the basket is sitting up and to the left a little bit more. Did not really get a hold of that, left it super, super low, really didn't like that shot. And so here we can see the basket is a little bit up. I'm trying to look at what the best line is, that's why I have all those discs in my hand. I decided to go with a straight forehand with my ESP zone. Just crushed the gap, felt so good. A little bit past the basket actually, because I was still left with a little bit off my drive. But we're still able to take the birdie. So that's a turkey, 3 in a row into hole number 10. Pretty simple, 322 feet, slightly downhill, very straight shot. I'm throwing my Opto Pure, which I don't feel phenomenal about, as you can tell. Just didn't aim my hips right. So we're looking at the basket again, and there's like no forehand or backhand line that can really get there until I look up. So I throw that, and out of my hand, I thought it was perfect.
No!
Just hit the last available branch and drop right back down. Left myself about 80 feet. See if my step puts on today. A little bit high and left, never committed to the putt. So we took a bogey on a 322-foot hole, moving us into hole 11, 428-foot par 3. Down the hill, you tee off from out of bounds, which is the whole sidewalk. And to get there, you pretty much have to throw the shot I'm about to throw. I took a rive, my new first run rive that I just put in the bag because I trusted it'd be a little more stable. Put it up high so that I trusted it would get back to the left.
Great shot.
Left herself about 40 feet, just outside the circle. This is a putt that I'm thinking maybe I run it without a jump. I decided to step it though. Made a sick circle 2 putt. Hole 12 is another 410-foot par 3. I take my river to try to hit that gap. And I'm just really not liking that backhand turnover or backhand hyzer flip line today.
It's kind of a little bit of a line.
And that is always the famous fast words. There's kind of a little bit of a line, one branch to miss. I decided to get down and try to throw the hero shot to get up and down for my par, even though I'm still about 320-ish feet out.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yeah, not happy about that.
All right.
So I decided instead to pitch out again with a mid-range. Thought I hit a pretty good hold of it. Never thought I was gonna get to the pin. Just hit a tree and drop down. So here we're throwing again the ESP zone, just trying to hit this line, get up and down for the double bogey. But honestly, double doesn't feel like a double on this hole. Gotta make the putt to save it. Okay, we took a 5 on a par 3, but...
Yeah, 5 does not feel like a double, but
Even
that's what I
the
got.
pros take double.
Thanks, Chloe, for that. But hole 13 is a 527-foot par 4. I take my fuse just to get up to the first landing zone and just end up turning it too much. I never threw it left enough, honestly, and so this is the crap that we're in. So let's talk a little bit about trying to get out of jail. Here, I'm trying to look where the fairway is, make sure I know where that is, because pretty much I'm just trying to pitch out and maybe get some distance. I look ahead to see if there's maybe a forehand flex line with an overstable disc, and then I see this gap to the left here. So I go into a patent pending stance with my right foot forward, my left foot behind my lie, and I decide to just throw a pure out of there, hit the gap, and I get myself back to the fairway.
Right there. Yikes.
So here we are looking at the basket from probably about 200 feet out, and I've been really liking this ESP zone on a straight, slightly anhyzered line.
Yes.
Calling for it to get off that tree and end up pretty much just parking it. So take that 4, which just feels so good on this hole.
Saving par, that's a good person. I think if I stay even, I am 1,000 plus.
So it started pouring at this point, and we're at hole 14, 230 feet. You got a double mando though, so I'm again throw that Opto Pure. Haven't been liking this line too much. End up finally hitting one-ish. Still not really hitting my line, and since as you can see, it is downpouring. I'm stepping up to about 50 feet, OB 30 feet behind the basket. I just want to pitch out, take an easy par, do that, execute it pretty well.
Talking in the middle of that. You're good, it's a little jump putt out. I'm happy with that.
Just got called for a rain delay, as you can see on the screen. That sucked, man. We're back, baby. 5 holes left. Let's make it count. Stay even. Really disappointed that we got that rain delay because it took me a little bit out of rhythm. As you'll see here, I'm throwing my first drive back and just threw it into the ground. Never got it high enough. This is a 421-foot par 4, so it should be a birdie all day. Basket is back there. I'm trying to get through the first gap and then turn it around into the second gap. And I'm deciding to go with my less stable Thunderbird because it does have some stability. I end up pretty much hitting my line, and then there's one tree that it kicks off of that doesn't let me get towards the basket. Pitch up my Razor Claw 3. Since it is a par 4, it doesn't really feel great to take a par here, but I went ahead and took the par. Hole 16 is 539-foot par 4. You want to hit that little gap with a forehand. I don't end up doing that. Put it a little high, but it ends up filtering through a lot and ends up being pretty fine.
Came out with good snap, but it's real high.
So here we're looking at the basket, and this is the shot I've been liking pretty much all day. That ESP zone on just a straight little line. I'm liking this shot today so far. So I feel pretty confident about getting up and down for another birdie.
Oh, wow.
Just terrible. Try to throw a little too hard, and here we have a slight line to get up and down for the par. Luckily, this is not out of bounds. Pitch out with my Razor Claw 3, get up pretty much about 15 feet from the basket, still trying to make a perfect putting performance. And so now we're moving on to hole number 17, 541, par 4. Kind of a very specific landing zone. There's a fairway that you want to get up to that I wanted to skip into and skipped a little long. And so now you can see that really small gap, and I've truncated the gap there because I had to throw around the tree that's to my right. So that's pretty much the line I was going for. Missed my line.
That is worst case scenario.
Yeah, that was worse.
The problem with that is I should have thrown a different shot because I didn't really have a good exit. Like if I missed my line, there wasn't anything good that was gonna happen. So I should have probably just played for par. Instead, I have to pitch up there with my 4th shot and end up throwing this in for the bogey. That was the first putt I was really nervous about because it was about 25 feet and I had just thrown a really bad shot. Hole 18's 312, par 3, OB just to the left of the basket. That little tiny gap to hit. I throw that opto pure again and pretty much hit my line, except not as much turn as I would want to. Luckily, I kind of get sat down, as you can see the OB there. The basket right in front of us, probably about like 80 feet. Another jumper.
Do it.
Thought we made it, but stepping up to the putt, have to dry off my putters, and when you dry off your putters, sometimes you forget that you're recording, and so here's a towel. Made the putt though, so still got a perfect putting performance going into the last hole. Basket 352 feet away from us. I'm kind of debating the big shot because there is an OB road just in front of the basket, and I am like, let's have some fun. Through my grace, way overturned it.
Never coming back. Let's
Oh
go.
my God, you don't deserve it.
I don't.
You don't deserve it.
So moving up, I have my Razor Claw 3, just gonna throw it kind of to the left of the basket and just sit it down because you don't want to go beyond the basket because there is OB and there is bushes that you can't really putt through. End up throwing right over the basket.
Out of bounds, out the back.
I think that's OB.
I think so too.
Really nervous about that, but end up walking up there and somehow snuck in. This is still inside the circle though, so if I want to continue perfect putting from C1X, I have to make this putt through this little baby gap.
Let's go. Oh, I was so pissed that this was inside the circle because if I didn't make that, I was gonna lose my perfect putting round.
Honestly, this didn't even feel like one of the best rounds that I've ever played, but it's kind of hard to feel that way when you play it blind because you don't know what you're normally going to shoot. Tomorrow will obviously be a solid test for me, but 2 massive achievements. One, this is the first round I think I've ever played, whether it's in tournament or casual, that I haven't missed a putt inside the circle. I was 100% inside the circle. I made 1 circle 2 putt, as you saw. I laid one up, and then I missed 2 circle 2. One might have been circle 3, that putt on 18. But, I mean, all of that, and also leaving myself close. Like, I didn't really have any testers. Maybe a couple, but nothing really outside of 20 feet. But that led me to my round rating being 10-10. So my second round over 1,000 rated. Unfortunately, before the pros all got in, my rating was like 10-17 or whatever, and then they all came in. And I'm actually tied for hot round of the day out of everybody who played that layout, which is super cool. I do like 2-day tournaments a lot more than 1-day tournaments, so hopefully I can get this up, get to sleep, get to the course, and just play a really solid round. I have a 3-stroke cushion, but I'm trying not to think about that, just trying to play my game because this course, every single hole can eat you alive. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to be focusing on what other people are doing any given hole. Subscribe, like the video. I forgot to say that. Pretty solid, really happy with the round. Go ahead and watch this tournament vlog. It's one of my least watched tournament vlogs, but it was a round for my first MA1 tournament, second round. Otherwise, if you want to see my other 1,000 rated round, pretty much every shot from that, go check it out right down here. I think you'll like it. Peace. Gosh, I'm tired. Okay, that's all. Bye.